Be here now. Behold the marvel of the low traffic neighbourhood. So to investigate this further, I'm here in South Birmingham in King's Heath, York Road. Recently included in the Times top 20 neighbourhoods in Britain. It's probably the most interesting examples of LTNs within the UK at the moment. And probably one of the best examples of the benefits, the social benefits, and the economic benefits they can do to transform a neighbourhood. But to start off, it's important that I give you some context. I've spent this summer largely revisiting a lot of the work by seminal American-Canadian writer Jane Jacobs, and in particular her seminal book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities. And I want to share a key quote from that book. Cities have the capability of providing something for everybody, only because and only when they are created by everybody. Ultimately, streets are for people. You go to any of the most celebrated cities in the world, the Romes, the Venices, etc. They're celebrated because they are pedestrian-led environments. And this was the case for many a millennia. Then came the 20th century, and for some reason we've got it into the psyche, particularly into this country, that a business cannot thrive, a street cannot operate unless it is a car-dominated, car-prioritised environment. What a load of nonsense. So the big question is, what is a low traffic neighbourhood then? A low traffic neighbourhood, otherwise known as an LTN, is a scheme where motor vehicle traffic in residential streets is greatly reduced. This is essentially done by minimising the amount of traffic that comes through vehicles, using the streets to get to another destination, and this is often referred to as through traffic or rat running, for example. Private motorised vehicles still have easy access to whole homes and businesses without having to drive through the neighbourhood. This opens up networks of streets so people can safely travel through the area on foot, bicycle, or by wheeling or by bus. Emergency vehicles can also be prioritised to reach their destinations quicker. Above all, traffic is reduced by temporary or permanent barriers called modal filters. These can include putting up bollards or planters, or they can be essentially camera operated. Residents and businesses still have access to the neighbourhood by motor vehicles using different routes, but through traffic is greatly reduced. So what are the benefits to an LTN? Low traffic neighbourhoods have shown to increase physical activity through more walking and cycling, benefit local businesses through an increase in sales and higher spend in people who walk or cycle to a high street, essentially making declining retail units viable. They create new public space, they improve air quality, and fundamentally, lower car use is achieved throughout the neighbourhood for shorter trips, and we can increase social interactions between neighbours and, above all, strengthen communities. King's Heath LTN was implemented during the pandemic and has been integrated mostly on the west side of the neighbourhood, with further phases to be delivered in Q1 of 2023. But here on York Road, they've gone one step further by only allowing car access to serve businesses for deliveries, meaning that the whole street is opened up to people. This has to be one of the most unique public spaces in the UK and a real benchmark for what we can do when we think bold and radical. Defined by its iconic planters, the street is around 70 metres long. The most interesting thing I feel is that it's made declining and vacant retail units viable. These now attract investment from trendy and high-end restaurants, so the social and economic benefits completely outweigh the loss of car use throughout the street. Equally, the street provides a pedestrian and cycle thoroughfare to the local school that links up with other LTNs to provide safe access for school children, whether walking or cycling. Above all, Birmingham has a huge problem with childhood obesity, which isn't helped by parents constantly driving kids to school. But to overcome that need, which I completely accept around safety issues, we have to create a framework that enables children to feel safe cycling and walking to school. There's no two ways about it really. Ultimately, it's been a radical move that has paid off, massively transformed and created a really key piece of public realm in the heart of King's Heath. It's made declining retail units viable, attracting investment into the area. It's encouraged a kind of thoroughfare for kind of local school kids into kind of connecting into kind of schools. So it's addressing the massive issue of obesity in children in South Birmingham by encouraging them to kind of cycle to school. But above all, it's created such a unique sense of place, and I'm a massive advocate of what we're seeing here, and I really do think that a lot of local authorities across the country should be coming to visit York Road and seeing the transformation that such interventions, very simple interventions, can have in an area. So that's it for this week's Coffee Cast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe. I'll see you again soon.